So, lust. Um, Pursuing lust, instant gratification. Like, so many people are wrapped up in this game where they're just chasing pleasure, and it cheapens the people that they pursue, it cheapens themselves. It's sort of this short term game that, like, degrades and lowers people down to just this transactional exchange, this means to an end, and sort of ignoring like the depth of the person and all that. And some people just they don't care. They're shallow, like they don't need to have emotional connection or understanding or anything like that. But for those who aren't just brain dead animals looking for their next fix, um, prioritizing real relationships, ensuring that you're sharing yourself with someone who truly cares about you is so important. Like, there's so many people and there's so many opportunities for relationships and such. It can be um, a temptation to take those opportunities and just like get it while it's easy, instead of waiting and building a relationship and like trying to get married, and like particularly like making yourself the kind of person that is worthy to be married and excellent and puts a lot of effort into the relationship and pays attention and plans and thinks towards the future. And so many people are just young people. They just like hit 18, and what do? It's like hit the club, party, drink, go out on the weekends, and hang out with these people that are for the streets, and there's a lot of like broken and messed up people out at these clubs and bars and stuff, and it can kind of just be a toxic thing to get tangled up in. um, I personally, I want to wait until marriage. I haven't had sex, and I'm really glad for that. um, I think because like really the only major like solid scientific thing that I've identified is, or that I've learned is, like, as you have sex with each partner, you kind of lower your ability to attach and connect with new people or the next person. And so like every single time you have sex, it's like having a piece of tape on your hand, and you put it there and you pull it off, and you put it there and you pull it off, and it's a little less sticky every time, and then after a few times it's like kind of just falls off and just hangs there or whatever. Or and yeah, like being able to make those bonds, I don't think it might transfer to other things. It's like the lustful person might devalue other people if they don't meet their means, what they get out of them. Like, just this over fixation on beauty and attractiveness and pleasure, and like it's stupid. It's like this mediated by testosterone, estrogen, this sort of ancient primordial drive to procreate and continue the species. But like, it becomes problematic when people are just like pressing buttons just for fun and wasting time. And there's a balance to it, but like finding disconnection and not needing that sort of thing, and just focusing in on your life, on your self-development, on your education, on your career. It's like that's what your 20s should be for. That's what when you hit 18, that's what you should be doing, or you should be doing those things beforehand anyways. At least the self-development, but and education, and then, well, even career is like at a young age you can work on a business or whatever. But yeah, it's sort of like people don't think about the consequences of like spending their time having these shallow relationships and not experiencing real relationships or whatever. Hmm. What else? I don't know, I'm kind of like, one reason why I want to wait is like whoever the girl is, um, if she's overly gluttonous, if she's overly lustful, if she's overly addicted or fixated on sensual pleasures and just instant gratification, she's just too immature. And like, particularly like finding people who are more focused on like practical things that they can do for the world, like that's much more important. And like, how sure it could be said like in some way it's helpful to sexually gratify someone for their instant pleasure, but a lot of that's just like feeding into just this sort of feeding into gratification or overly comforting oneself, like pursuing these relationships after relationships and looking and chasing and craving this stuff. It can take you off the path, it can take you off the mission, it can lower your motivation. Like even this, like vape or food or whatever. um God, I wish I could pause this video and think. um what else? um I mean, there's the sexual STI thing. Um, like going around being promiscuous, you can get disease. That's pretty obvious and icky and all that. But um, I don't know. It's like there's I'm not sure how to rationally or argue this exactly, but there's something about people who are driven by sensual pleasures and instant gratification that they're just like animalistic, like they're careless, they're like just driven by this simple desire. And I don't like that. Like, I like thoughtful people, I like people who like depth and understanding and knowledge. And I don't know, there's just gonna be a bunch of people who are wasting their time on sensual pleasures instead of building real relationships. And there's gonna be a lot of people who are kind of left in the dust, like once the youth fades away and like the parties dry up, and you're just not as attractive for those sorts of things or whatevs. Yeah, continuing that life is possible, but really it's just like you see a 50-year-old who's like still pursuing many sexual engagements and such, and it's just like you're wasting your time on bullshit. Like, you could be doing something, making something of yourself, and like restraining and disciplining yourself and not giving in to simple pleasures and striving for more. And like peace is in part found with eliminating unnecessary desires and building like healthy desires. And in part, like the sexual pleasure that people gain from promiscuous activities is a poor substitution for true meaning in life. Something that's more substantial. And yeah,